Hello and welcome to Wimbledon Unfiltered. I'm the YTS Alan Brazil, Gordon Smart, and today, as always, with me is the Maverick, Nick Kyrgios. You right, Nick?
I'm good. How are you?
You're behaving yourself this week, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm showing up on time, unlike you.
9 minutes early. They only pay me from 5 o'clock. But today we have another incredible guest for you. Over 20 years at pretty much his local club to Wimbledon, picked up all the big trophies. The third best footballer ever to come from Epsom after John Harley and Stephen Broad. It's the one and only John Terry. All right, JT.
Thank you, mate. Nice to see you.
Good to see you,
Hi.
mate.
Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
John.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
I should tell you, Nick, right, when I first moved to London, I lived around the corner for this man in Epsom.
Yeah.
And the local pub, you got to tell me there was Holmes Place, the gym,
Yeah.
and it was at Casa, the pub
Castle,
downstairs.
the pub, yeah. We didn't spend too much time in the gym, did we?
No.
More so the pub.
But they were good times, weren't they, when it all kicked off for you? Because you are pretty much local to Wimbledon, right? So Epsom, all the clubs around here, this is where you grew up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, obviously, I'm an Essex boy, originally West Ham area, then moved this way when I was 18. But yeah, Surrey's been my home for many years, and yeah, a few pub crawls back in the day.
We're just talking, I've been laughing with Nick all week about whether he belongs at Wimbledon, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think I belong in the tennis scene, especially not Wimbledon. I mean, especially when I made the final that year, every day the media was going crazy. But you know, I'm not going to lie, but I don't know whether they're you know, the personalities, they're still not embracing them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you feel when you come to Wimbledon, because you've got how many pieces of silverware in your trophy cabinet, do you get a special welcome here?
I still can't even get in.
You got ID?
Did you get some tickets?
I don't, honestly. That infuriates me.
Yeah.
Like, legend of the game, and it's... Yeah, I've experienced similar things in football as well. Like, I was at Chelsea for a very long time, for 22 years, and things change, you move on. Like, I joined Aston Villa and wanted to come back and little bits, and it just becomes difficult because, like, and as an ex-player, like, never had a doctor, you know, never had been to the gym. All of a sudden, you kind of not got that facility or the people in place to kind of help and guide you and stuff. So it's really bizarre, and like, a lot of players get a lot of stick for moving clubs. Obviously, Trent just moved to Madrid. Like, my advice to these young players: go, take as much money as you can, enjoy your football, because as soon as you retire, it completely cuts off. The relationship, no matter what you've done or what you've won in the game, it's completely gone.
That must be tough for your head as well, right? To deal with that.
Mentally, I feel like the PFA, the Premier League, have a responsibility, and the football clubs as well, to facilitate. And I'm just saying to Nick then, we're just putting in place at Chelsea a programme for ex-players to be able to go and use the facilities at the training ground. Like, we still want to stay fit. We still want to play football. You can't go, you know, I do play with the dads Monday night as well. But you want to go and have a good game of football. You want to stay fit. You want to eat well and stuff. So we're just going to open the facilities at the training ground, which is really forward-thinking from the new owners.
I know that when I used to train at the academy and say Leighton Hewitt or one of these, you know, tennis legends walked in and watched our session, it's like, that's a blessing, you know. If they're just going to watch you practice for an hour or two and maybe give you a piece of advice, like, you'd think that they'd always be welcome, but that infuriates me. But I mean, anyway.
Well, that's me, because I'm in the academy now as well. I'm working a couple of days a week, part-time. I'm in and around it. So, like, recently we had Jimmy Floyd come in, we've had Joe Cole come in, Ash comes in, and often we go, let's get the boots on, let's go and get involved with these players. Because as well, like, we all want to be young coaches, but at the same time, being around the centre half, of talking him through it and experiencing it, rather than a coach from the outside, you're actually in the session and working and stuff. They're the bits I really like and enjoy, you know, and where you can make a real difference.
And absolutely smashing on with 2 feet.
That as well.
I was going to say, actually, John, in all fairness, he's...
I just tensed up.
He's sucking in. But again,
you look in good shape.
Looking after yourself after. I mean, I know you've been skiing a lot and enjoying stuff you couldn't when you had the insurance stuff.
Yeah.
How good is that liberating you after the football?
Our life after football is great. Like, initially you have 6 months retirement going, this is like perfect. But there comes a point of going, I really miss that, miss performing in front of people, walking out of Stamford Bridge. Like, that'll never be replaced, and I still miss it today. Like, enjoy the drinking. I'm able to go skiing with the kids and the family. I have far too many drinks. Hence why I didn't come on the show yesterday. I had far too many pims yesterday. But, like, enjoying myself and having a good balance of life for me is what it's all about. So,
one thing I always wanted to ask you, JT, is that did you ever think I could have another 2 or 3 years playing in the Scottish League, or, you know, playing Championship, and just prolonging the career that little bit longer? Because you could have done a great job up there. Why didn't you do it?
I reckon I could have had another 10 years in the Scottish League. Sorry, mate.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, like, I'd never wanted to leave Chelsea.
Yeah.
And when I did, it was that last year of Conte come in, took over, we won the league. I kind of got injured, which was a blessing for the team. I was at the kind of the back end of my career, and I kind of got injured. It took me a little bit longer to recover. And when I was out of the team, we went on like a winning streak of like 10 games, and I was like, I'm not getting back in this. But for me, it was like I was out of it. and I knew at that point I had nothing more to give for Chelsea,
Yeah.
and I never wanted to be there and just kind of stay there because I'd kind of earned that as a player. I knew that my levels after that were kind of going one way. So for me, it was time to go. They offered me another contract, but I decided to go to Aston Villa because we was in the Championship, and I had an agreement with Villa that if we got promoted that year and we lost in the final to Fulham, that I wouldn't play against Chelsea the following year in the Premier League. So 2 games I would have missed would have been Chelsea. It just wouldn't have felt right to me. But ideally I wanted to stay at Chelsea forever, but I felt like I had one more year in me, and we give it a good go at Villa, but unfortunately didn't make it.
What about Nick, right? He's 30 now. He's got a couple of, 3 years, 4 years left maybe. What advice would you give him about this part of his career?
Like genuinely, like go in and just give it everything.
Yeah.
For me, because like I'm retired, I'd love to go back, whether it's a week, a month. Like I say, go and enjoy it, because that experience of walking out on centre court or walking out in a big tournament in front of, like, people want to see you play. I think football, I think all sport actually, is crying out for people like you that are really outspoken, an absolute talent, and enjoyable, because I go and watch you play. Like, I'm a big tennis fan. I go and watch you play, and I'm on my edge of my seat. There's some games I go and watch, and it's like, yeah, we know what's happening. You know, that's what I want to see. I want to see people like, absolutely. Hazard had that.
Have you always been a tennis fan?
Yeah, always been tennis. More so paddle now. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say
no,
that.
You can.
He owns paddle, don't you?
No, pickle and paddle are taking over big time.
Yeah, paddle's big now, and also tennis is hard. Anyone who hasn't played tennis is a tough game. Paddle's a little bit easier, and you can play with a family as well. So I'm playing with a wife. Yeah, exactly.
So Steve Sidwell's playing a bit, isn't he?
Sid's not bad. Yeah.
Who's the best of the former players in paddle?
Oh, I'm up there.
Oh, see them.
I'm up there.
Oh, man. The confidence.
Up
yeah,
there,
like
number one.
I'm up there. Yeah, definitely. We'll have to have a game. You've heard it. We'll have a game.
Who's in it? Right. Okay. Right. We need to set this up. So you need to play him a paddle. Right. We'll get that going.
Well, it's usually doubles is more fun.
Yeah. Doubles has to be.
You and I think the trash talk would be elite.
So hold on. Right. If it's doubles, who are you choosing to play with you then from this glittering top 3 or 4 that you're talking about? Who would be with you?
I'm going to take Shevchenko with me.
Oh, there we are. It's not a bad name, is it?
Shev is good.
Is he?
But I get told off in paddle.
Too aggressive.
I love the banter. I'm like, the ball's in the air. I'm like, he's going to miss it. And I'm like, people are like, you can't speak it quite. And I'm all over little bits like that just to get a little edge.
Think about how I feel out there.
I think you should just come back and just go for it.
You do get involved in a little bit of that, don't you?
Well, yeah, you do, but you get fined. Like, you know, and that's why I love team sports like football or basketball. It's like you can just talk and, you know, you can be more outspoken where, you know, the microphones are right there, and then the line umpires run to and you get fined. Like,
I watched the Zabalenka game yesterday, and the German girl, Laura, was it?
Sigmund.
Yeah. I'm watching her and I'm going, I would do everything I can here just to disrupt her.
Exactly.
I'd go and walk in the shade and I'd like dry my hands and I'd get a warning, all those little bits, because clearly there's one player better than the other.
Correct.
I would use every little bit, and I love that side of sport. I love the mental side and getting in people's head, and people kind of moaning about me and going, "Oh, right, I've won here."
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's such a big part, and people don't tap into it enough.
Yeah,
but you would have just missed Dennis Wise, though, right?
That there is like exactly how I felt when I played like Roger, Rafa, or Novak. Like, I knew that I couldn't beat them playing like a nice, elegant style of tennis. So I'll do things to try.
What would you do?
Well, like knock over Nadal's bottles or talk to Federer, change events. Just like do things to try and get in their head.
But you say talk to him. What would you say?
Oh, just like I'd be talking loud to myself, and he'd be looking over, and I'm like, if I'm able to like do things like that, maybe it gives me an edge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna beat them if I'm gonna try and play them at their game.
What
That's exactly how I think, and I've been butchered for it my entire career.
I do little bits when I play paddle. I'm like, if someone's got a really good serve, I just try and get. I'm like, do you hold your breath when you serve? And all of a sudden, you see them going, like trying to hold their breath
thinking
before
about
thinking about rather than the serve. And
Puts
it's
it off
little
the
bits
rhythm.
like that. Then you all of a sudden you go, right, I've got you. Where there's some people that are mentally strong, like Gianfranco Zola, like loves it, loves the banter, mentally strong.
But he had to be though, didn't he? Because he was a little fella,
Yeah.
really skillful, and people like you would have been trying to snap him.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Because again, I love the dark arts of football because I think it's such an important part of the game, and there are so many cameras on you now. You can't really get away with it. But did you do? The nipping of the armpits, picking somebody up off the ground? What was your thing?
That was Wise's thing, was picking people up from the armpit hair. But mine was a little bit more. You could tackle back in the day.
Yeah.
Now it's gone. So the art of defending is completely gone, which I think is a shame, to be honest, because there's some tackles where if I tackle you now and end up kind of following through,
taking
people go, you can't do that. That's a sending off, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's like, you can't tackle and stop immediately, and this is where like, I get frustrated with people in football now, kind of getting jobs, getting roles within the TV and stuff. It just does my head in. And it's like real football people love to see that side of it, and you know, it's a big thing missing.
It is actually against the rules now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous play, but I think, like you say, it's a clean, heavy tackle is a magical part of football.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, fans want to see it.
I got a new favourite footballer, by the way.
He's into this, isn't he?
Yeah, I like it.
I had him on a podcast today with Mark Clattenburg, and I just wanted to see your reaction to that, even saying his name.
Well, listen, I have murders with Mark on the
Ballers
pitch anyway,
League as well.
but Baller League more so than when I played. So I've been a manager of this Baller League. He's been the referee. He has been a shambles. He's been rough. So bad, honestly. Yeah. And
like no bias, like genuinely just being bad. He's lost it.
Really bad. But you know, like I'm literally directly behind him. Their keeper puts it out for a corner, and I'm like, corner, because 3 corners ends up like a penalty in Baller League. Yeah. And I'm going, surely you've seen that. No, I've not seen it. He's gone and watched it on the replay, and I'm like, how can you not see it in real life? Then you've not given it. And I'm like, oh, my head's frazzled. I'm going, go back to Gladiators.
Giving him it.
Yeah.
Giving it. We've talked about this a lot, actually, Nick, haven't we, about the changing of the format of tennis to make it more appealing. But Baller League, you know, I've got a 15-year-old lad sitting over there, and he loves watching that type of football, because it is a different spectacle, and the viewing figures are massive. Can you see the appetite for football changing because of different products like that in the game? Yeah,
I think so. I don't sit there and enjoy watching football anymore. And the guys who started Baller League, a guy called Felix, he's got backers from Germany and across the world. They were fed up with seeing kind of tactical games where teams play against Man City, you kind of get 11 men behind the ball, and it's boring, and Man City try and break teams down, and it's really boring. You don't see many shots, you don't see many players like Hazard, Joe Cole, like getting people off their seats. So they started Baller League of going, like, once you cross the halfway line, you have to go forward, you can't go backwards.
Cool.
And it's like the generation of kids, like you say, they love seeing it. Like, the viewing figures have been way more than the championship. I think that will grow next year as well, because we're going again. But I think it gets to a point where people are getting fed up with it.
And this talks to you, doesn't it, Nick?
Big time. I mean, we've already started seeing some different versions of tennis happening, like different tennis leagues and stuff. But I definitely think, like, now watching a best-of-5 set match, like yesterday you watched Alcaraz play, but, you know, when you watch these massive long matches for like 4 or 5 hours, it gets a bit mundane, and it's like, you know, when I need something else, and the concentration of this younger generation as well, like, it's not there.
They don't want to sit there for 3 or 4 hours, do they? Yeah.
Who had the best mentality of all the players you played with in that famous Chelsea side?
Lamps.
Yeah,
by far.
Really?
In terms of, like I say, the best ever player I've seen at Chelsea is Hazard in terms of pure ability. But in terms of relentless year after year after year, what Lamp's done, if ever I was at a point where I felt a little bit tired in training, you know, because games and stuff like that, or he had a little bit of a sickness or a little injury, I'd go and mark Lamps in training. He didn't stop moving. And I knew my numbers would be up, not as high as him, but also you kind of go and follow him around the pitch, and you'd be absolutely shattered. And you start walking in, and you look back, and Lamps is out there with a bag of balls. And you're like, Lamps, what are you doing? I'm just doing some sprints and some... And you're like, I'll best do a little something. So it's relentless. Like those top players just at the top level, like he scored 20 goals for 15 seasons consecutively, which is incredible. People go, how and why did he do it? That's why. So any young kids watching, that's why you go, when you want ex-players in the building of passing that level of information across, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal golfer, by the way. I think that's where most of his life's spent now. But if you could be at the highest level in any other sport other than football, would it be golf? Would it be tennis? What's the one that you'd like to pick up the biggest trophy in?
Yeah, it'd be golf.
Would it be
and
golf?
To be fair, I'm not sure it's a trophy, it's the money at
Is
Live. I think
Is that what
I would have been signed, I would have been across and done,
Straight across to take the
no,
money.
but golf is... Yeah, golf's something that I've taken up, obviously, since retiring. It's a one sport. Like tennis, I'm okay. Paddle, I'm a good paddle player. From one day to the next, I can be here or here. Golf is like one day I'm here, the next day I'm here. Yeah. And I'm like, how? And it's the most frustrating game ever.
It doesn't sound good. I'm not the golfing
He's
type.
not having it, but I think, again, it's got to be in you. Long levers, great frame.
I'm good at mini golf. I like putt-putt.
You can concentrate for 5 hours in a 5-set match.
Yeah, but like golf goes all day. And I think I just get too smashed probably as well.
That's if you play with me,
yeah, I'll just drive you around.
But do you not find that quite interesting though, with the talent that you have, that that's just not a sport you'd be interested
I'd rather play football. Like I'd rather play
Really?
team sports.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's, you know,
Suppose when you've been on your own for so long.
Like
Yeah.
I love playing in team
Especially the
environments.
hand-eye coordination as well. You'd
Yeah.
be very good naturally and hit it a mile as well. So really frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay away. Stay
Yeah.
away.
JT, I don't know if you're aware, but Nick's a Spurs fan.
Oh.
He's like, stop telling people that.
I'm not a massive, like I am, but I'm
Yeah.
not really.
I actually didn't know that.
Did you not know
I'm
that?
not sure I'd be here now.
Fuck.
Again, just to give him an idea what lies ahead next season, how do you think Spurs will do?
Hopefully not too well.
Under Frank, it'll be a Thomas Frank, it's a big change.
Yeah, I think he's a really good manager.
It's class, isn't he?
The problem is I'm not sure they're in a good place.
Yep.
Like seeing where they finished last year, I look at Spurs and go, foundations and the facilities they've got, the
Yep.
stadium's incredible, training ground's incredible.
Mhm.
I think it's time for a change there and someone who's going to come in and give it a real go. I'm happy for them to stay where they are. Like there's no beating around the bush with me and Spurs. I hate Spurs. Spurs hate me. It's really simple.
I love that. I love that energy though. Honestly, it reminds me of me, to be honest.
But it's like you grow up on that and
Yeah.
it's pure hate. So I hope they stay where they are. If I'm being honest.
What about seeing Manchester United in 15th and 16th place? And it must be slightly odd for you after your career and all those battles over the years with Fergie when you had Mourinho. It's a bit unusual, isn't it? The change in the league the last
Well, a
few
little bit.
seasons.
Even Chelsea, the last kind of 3 or 4 years, it's been Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and all of a sudden Chelsea and Man U have dropped off. Like Man U have gone another level, but I expect them over time to bounce back. But it's interesting because just that little bit of mismanagement or wrong decisions, managers, players, can have a real bad impact. And that's why, like, when you speak about top players and what they bring is when you're at Chelsea and you sign a player, say we sign you come into the building and you're a midfielder. You're going, you've got to get in our team. You've got to be better than Lamps.
Yeah.
That's really tough as an individual to be better. You've got to work harder than Lamps. Now you're not working harder than Lamps, so you've got to be really good now. Yeah. And you've got to be on it every single day. And these boys are on it. And I think when you surround yourself with top players, and this is why I love football and love team sports, you can lift people and you can improve on a daily basis. And that's what I love about football.
See, that's the thing, you're in the Chelsea Academy now, right? Bringing a young generation through. But taking that on board and also being a famous captain of a club, how would you have led Nick, right? If you were his captain, to get the best out of him? Because you played with mercurial talent, right?
Yeah.
Boys who were characters, but sometimes needed a boot up the arse. So how would you have dealt with Kyrgios? Would you have given him a size 11 up the arse?
Well, there would have been a couple of occasions, definitely.
I'm happy to take him.
But at the same time, the comparison I have would compare you to Hazard.
Yeah.
So Hazard being all the ability in the world, but would turn up to training and be here, not interested.
Really?
You know, we under Mourinho, we were playing West Ham, and it's a tactical day. So for me, I love that side of it. I'm a defender. I love this, and this is how we're going to break him down. And after 10 minutes, Eden's gone, why are we doing this? Who are we playing tomorrow? Didn't even know who we were playing. We're like, West Ham. Who plays for West Ham? Just give me the ball. 1-0.
Okay.
Mourinho took the bib off him. You're not starting, blah, blah. And it was like, wow.
A disaster,
But he's like, his laces are undone. But for me, being the captain of that side, speaking to the other players, going, we need to work a little bit harder because when he's on it Saturday, we're going to reap the rewards of it. And also, he's not going to run back and come back. So as the left winger or the left back, Ashley Cole, you need to work twice as hard, which you do, and you compensate for him because he's that good. So when he gets the ball going forward, he comes alive and he can win you a game. And I compare you and him the same.
Now you know why he's the captain. How good is that?
You've got to take that as a compliment
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
But
I will
It's like
take it.
little bits like that. So rather than going, give you a
Carrot and
kick out the
stick.
backside, actually,
Yeah.
let's make everyone else a little bit and free him up. Because these boys with the real talent, they're the ones that can win you the game. You've got a special talent where you can go and win this. Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
But to do it like these boys do it day after day after day after day, and Hazard couldn't. He would be like this Monday to Friday, but come Saturday, he'd be the best player.
See, that's a really interesting thing for you, Nick, isn't it? Because tactically, you could, spend a lot of time doing your analysis and preparing for a big game, but if you went in there and just rely on talent, it's going to get you a certain.
But also, I kind of enjoyed the tactical because I didn't have a coach for most of my career, and I had my best results sometimes when I didn't have one. So I actually enjoyed breaking down the game as well. Like, so it was weird. Maybe I had a bit of both, but I just couldn't find the balance, to be honest.
So yeah,
Well, it's the same with Eden. Before the game, like literally, we'd go out like 45 minutes before the game and start the warm up. He'd be there, FaceTiming, tracksuit on, minute to go, FaceTiming his kids or playing Mario Kart on Eddie, come on. Yeah. 30 seconds. All of a sudden, he'd put his kit on and kind of walk out. But come 3 o'clock,
Yeah, he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready. You know, I don't need to tell him, and we don't need to push him before and all of that. So it's like managing the people around you is key.
You have played with some of the greatest players, right? But again, you know, if we could put it into the tennis context, is Alcaraz going to be or could be the greatest? Bearing in mind how high that bar is set.
Yeah, I mean, he's already on 5 Grand Slams, and he's, I think, 22, I think? 20, or not, 22 years old, so...
It's there, isn't it?
I mean, it is there, and the thing about the tour at the moment, I don't think the depth is as great as it used to be. You know, the top 10 really were a force, you know, when it was Murray, Djokovic, Federer, and now I really don't see anyone else but Sinner or Alcaraz winning these Grand Slams. So Alcaraz has now won 5 in a row against Sinner, which is huge. Those head-to-head battles are massive, and I could see Alcaraz, you know, getting to 15 or 20 slams for sure if he keeps at this pace.
Yeah.
There's who's going to stop him at this point in time? I can't really say anyone.
Yeah,
you've seen him.
Yeah, we'd have to agree and agree. There's not the depth in it like it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's not there. So the opportunities to go and deliver that now is perfect timing. And sometimes that's all you need. The timing
exactly
to
right.
be at the right time is perfect.
John, before we let you go, last question about Chelsea. How do you think they'll do next season?
Well, we've showed great signs. We're obviously in the final against either PSG or Madrid tonight, I think, is the game. We've showed good signs. Like, we've got a really good young squad. I know the famous saying, you can't win anything with young players, you need a bit of experience, but I do think we just need a little bit of experience, whether that's in goal, whether that's an old, you know, centre-back, just to guide the players a little bit on the pitch as well. But in terms of talent and what the owners are doing, I love the idea of it. I'm not sure it goes and wins you a Premier League. And I personally feel that Man City and Liverpool are probably too strong at the moment. But we could come off the back of this and start the season really well. So, okay, the lads are going to be a little bit tired, but also going, actually, let's break it up. Let's have a few weeks off during the season, but let's just go straight into the season. Give the players a few days off, but also hit the ground running, which I think could be key.
I've got to ask you one more question, but in tennis, there's only one player, right? It's got to look after one person. 46 players in a first-team squad. How on earth do you keep... I mean, you're like 80% of your squad's off because they're not playing. You want to be a manager. How do you handle that?
Yeah, well, you'd like to think that most of them would be if they're not playing. I'm not sure some of them aren't. I think that's probably the issue in sport nowadays as well. You want players that are upset, angry, but also not sulking. And there's a big difference, I think, in it. I think this generation don't understand sulking and working hard. Actually, if I'm not in the team, come in and be the absolute best and then go and knock on the manager's door. Yeah, absolutely. Because if I'm the manager of a football club and you come knocking at my door, I go, tell you what, let's just watch training back. Because we have the luxury nowadays to watch all the training, what time you arrived at the training, what time you left. Okay, let's have a look at this. That's why you're not playing. And for managers, I think it's vital.
The Lionesses are 1-0 up. They're deep into the tournament. How does the mentality change? I mean, I'd love to say I know about this as a Scotland fan, but explain to me, JT, how does that change in a tournament the further in you get?
Well, I think it's pretty clear for the women now. They need to win their next 2 games, and delighted they're winning so far. So they've got experience in the squad as well. I think the further you go, like I said before, in terms of the further you go, the better players you've got, the more experienced players you can then turn up and deliver. I know we didn't do that as an England team, but the further you go, the more confident you feel, and obviously the challenge as well is there ahead of you. So the better the team, you want to go and perform against the best and test yourself against the best. So hopefully they'll do okay.
Do you think the Lionesses wish that Erin Cuthbert was English?
Absolutely, we need a little bulldog in there.
She's epic, isn't she?
Well, we're very lucky to have her at Chelsea.
Yeah, I have to tell you a story about something that happened at the Chelsea training ground many years ago with John Terry that I wrote about. That's just come back into my head.
Go on.
About last man standing.
Can we hear it?
Last man standing in the training. In the, do you remember that?
Yeah.
We better not talk about it. JT, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Great,
Pleasure.
man.
No
Excellent.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
Great
Pleasure.
job today, Nick, as well.
It was good. It was good. I'm enjoying it.
You've been watching Wimbledon Unfiltered. Please do subscribe to YouTube for Good Trouble and for talkSPORT, and leave a question for the great man here, Nick Kyrgios. Thank you very much, JT. Back tomorrow.